18-game NFL seasons?
What?
That's right, you heard me correctly. The NFL is thinking about adding a couple of games to the regular season. The big question is that really good for the sport? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. But first, if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Also, if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, make sure to drop a like and let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to see 18 games. But without further ado, let's get into it. There's no question that we all love football. I love football, you love football. In a fan's perspective, we all want to see more games. But as a player's perspective, each game puts a ton of pressure on their bodies. We rarely see NFL players get through an entire season without missing a certain amount of time because of injuries. Well, good news for them too. If the NFL does indeed end up adding a couple of games, there will be a 16-game limit for each player, which means that they're going to have to rest for 2 games. If they do play more than 16 games, they will be violating a league rule. Now, for players who are very competitive, they might not really like that, but it's the best option for them. They are putting so much pressure in each and every single game that they go out there that if they add a couple of games, especially if their team's making a playoff push, it's just too much pressure. It's going to break down at some point and they're going to end up missing some time. And as a fan's perspective, some of us may not like it, but of course, the coach and the owner, when they sit down and build up the roster for each game, they're not going to rest every star at the same time. They're going to be selective, look at the matchups, and that's how they'll make their decisions. I personally am very excited about this, especially since there's a 16-game cap. I think that's a perfect rule. I think this is going to work out pretty well. And what's making this transition look even more likely is that most NFL owners are pushing for 18-game seasons. And I would say the main reason for that is that if there are indeed 18 games, it's giving a little bit more room for failure. Not that that's what the owners want to see, but at some point throughout the season, they're going to go through failure, and it happens over and over again. You look at baseball, 162 games, there are teams that go through big slumps, but then end up getting hot and still end up making the playoffs. The more games there are, the more you have room for failure. And in the NFL, you can only lose about 4 to 5 games, or else you're more likely to not make the playoffs. Well, adding a couple of games might change things. But then comes the part where players are already struggling through 16 games. You look at Andrew Luck. He retired at 29 years old because of all the injuries he had. He rarely made it through the entire season healthy. And there are some players who want the NFL to cut down some games, maybe take off a couple. But there really have not been any talks about cutting it down. Most of the talks have been adding games. So I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below if you guys do indeed want to see 18-game NFL seasons and if you guys think this is the right move for the sport. Also subscribe, drop a like, and I'll see you all next time.